Here we are at the glorious Lake Borumba. What a pristine, glorious, delightful autumn day. It's very hot, but it'll cool down soon enough. We've come out here for two reasons. Number one, we're going fishing, and number two, we are going to go and do some rangefindery goodness, because this is one of the few places that I could find that's worth coming to that actually has enough range to max out my little SIG Kilo 1250 rangefinder on a reflective target. That reflective target is the dam wall from about 1400 metres away. It's got a nice bank picked it out on Google Maps. So hopefully we'll catch some fish and we'll get our video done. Good times. Alrighty, so just had the boys drop me off over here on the other side of the dam, so I've got a nice clear shot over to the dam wall. So let's unbox the little SIG and see what it's got to offer. So as you can see, this is the SIG Kilo 1250. It's a 6x20, and I didn't pay $4.19 for it, but that's what the sticker says. But I paid, I think, $3.89 for it. It was on special at the time. And since then it has gone up just a little bit. I've seen a few of them online at various shops for between $500 and $600, sometimes even over $600. But at the time, the price point represented a good sort of high value option. It wasn't the most expensive and it wasn't the cheapest, and it has quite a bit of good solid range on it. It says that it will do up to 1600 yards reflective, trees at 950, and a soft target like a deer at 750 yards. So for those of you everybody else in the rest of the world that uses the metric system, 1600 yards is about 1450 meters or thereabouts. And that's approximately how far away from the dam wall I am now. So hopefully that will work as a reflective target. So when you open the box, you get a nice little lanyard. You also get a CR2 battery that comes with it, but I've already put that in. You get this lovely little SIG case. It has a belt loop on the back. It's made from Cordura or something like that. It feels like Cordura. SIG brand on the front, and it has this lovely little pull tab instead of a press stud or Velcro. So you can open and close it nicely, and it's quiet, which is good. I like that. That's a good choice for a hunting optic. So pulling it out, this is what it looks like. We've got a mode button right here, and we have the range button here. And it is very simple to operate. You simply pick it up and put it up to your eye, like so. Look through it, and then put the reticle over what you want, and then click the range button, and it will give you the range that you're looking for. It has more than one mode for the range though. It has, you click and hold the mode button, and it will bring up your options list, and you're able to set it for direct range, so from A to B in a straight line, disregarding the angle of elevation, or you can go ahead and use the angle modified range mode, which is ideal for ballistics, where it will, if you're ranging the top of a mountain or something like that and you're aiming up, it's going to give you the exact relevant ballistic range, not the point-to-point range. So it will modify its distance that it spits out for the angle that will be affecting the round that you're going to shoot. So I really like that. I think that's a great idea, and that's pretty much how I always leave it. I never really change it to point-to-point distance. Even when I'm using it for other stuff, like measuring out paddocks at home or whatever, I still just use that angle modified range because it's pretty much close enough. It does the job perfectly. So that's one of the things that you'll probably find when you take the plunge and you buy a rangefinder. You'll probably find that you use it a lot more than you would think for stuff that you wouldn't even expect. So yeah, it's great for measuring distances in all forms, not just in a ballistic sense. So let's jump over and have a look, and we'll use my super duper dodgy little scope cam setup, and hopefully that'll give us a nice clear picture, and we'll be able to range the wall at 1400-ish meters and prove that it can actually hit a reflective target that far out, because that's quite a long way for a rangefinder in this price bracket to actually be shooting. And oftentimes, like, I'm a bit of an optics snob. I look at SIG and I think, what have they done? And like, I don't really, they don't set my heart on fire when I look at their other optics and stuff. Not to say that there's anything wrong with them, because I've never actually used them, but it's not the sort of, it's not really a name that comes to mind when you think of high quality optics. And if you're an optics snob and you're used to like Night Force and March and all that sort of stuff, you probably wouldn't first think that SIG could deliver you a product that you'd be happy with. But I think it represents a really good high value option. Like, it's not a high end rangefinder by any means, but it will almost certainly get the job done that you need it to do. So let's have a look at the wall and see how far away it is. Check this out for a garbage home job piece of redneck engineering. I didn't even finish it properly, but it pretty much works. So yeah, it's just an old phone case with some PVC on it that I've rigged up so that it will hold the ocular lens of the rangefinder. That's looking pretty good. So that's what the reticle looks like. It's got we're on angle modified range mode at the moment. What that does is corrects for the angle that the inclinometer detects within the rangefinder. So it gives you a ballistically correct range instead of the point A to point B range. So as you can see just then, we'll scope along, there we go, 1168.7 meters. So that's a fairly large reflective target. If we scoot on over and try and catch one of these boats out the back there, 511. What about you behind there? A little bit too fiddly for that. My apologies for my shaky hands. Alright, there we go. There's a small child at 291 meters being towed in a ski tube. Lovely day for it. 481 meters away for that boat on the other side of the dam. So when it says that you can do a 1600 meter long reflective target range, that means a very large reflective target at 1600 meters, because it's a little bit wobbly, as you can see with these longer ranges. If you've got shaky hands, I would think you would have to be a brain surgeon to get a small reflective target at 1600 meters. So let's try and range the trees. We'll see where we get a nice close reading on some soft targets. Still too small, still too far away. There we go. 536 meters to the trees on the other side. $574 there. 636, getting a little bit further. It looks like the boys in the boat over there. That was 759 meters, so nearly 800 meters. That's pretty good for what I would think is a non-reflective target, being that that's the trees. Oh no, that is a reflective target, that's the boat. Something shiny on the boat. So we've got some fairly long ranges on soft targets, up to about 600 meters. There we go, 663 meters. So that's not bad at all, not bad at all. One of the good things about this rangefinder is that you can hold, like click and drag, and it will spit out a whole bunch of numbers at you, and then leave the closest number that it gets. So you can scan across something like this, turn the rangefinder on just by clicking the range button, and then scan left to right until it gives you a reading, and then just let go once you see the reading, and bam, 1174. Alrighty then, so I think that'll about do us for our long range reflective target test there. So we saw that we've got over 1100 meters or whatever it was out to the dam wall on a reflective target, but to get that far out you need quite a large target, and it obviously has to be reflective enough to bounce the beam all the way back into the receiver so that it can tell you how far away it is. So when it does say that it will hit a reflective target at 1600 yards, it will do that, but it needs to be very reflective and big enough for you to actually get it with that handshake that you would have been able to see through my scope cam there. So one of the things that really does bug me about it is on the bottom I feel like there should be a tripod mount. I suppose you could probably try and put it into a smartphone bracket or something like that and mount it on your tripod, but it is quite wide. It's not quite wide really, but it's a lot wider than a smartphone is these days. So the general sort of size probably wouldn't really work very well, and I may end up making something that straps around the body of it and has a little pin in the bottom so that I can hook it onto a tripod for longer ranges if need be. But that being said, I'm probably never really going to be going out there and shooting anything past 1,000 yards anywhere other than the range for target shooting. And even then I still haven't gotten around to doing that yet, so I can't see that really being an issue for me. At shorter ranges, like below 500 meters, it's very, very quick and very easy on any target. So whether or not it's reflective, it's still going to give you a good reading. They don't really work very well in foggy times of day. The fog seems to mess around with the beam and prevent like a nice straight clean reflection coming back to you. But yeah, as far as clear weather and everything goes, it's a great option. So to cover the pros, we've got a good price point. It's not cheap and nasty. It doesn't feel cheap and nasty, at least. It seems to give accurate ranges, both long and short, on hard and soft targets and reflective targets at really long ranges. But as far as cons go, nothing on the bottom to hook it up to a tripod. So if you are shooting long distance targets, it's going to be a little tricky. And also one other gripe is the reticle isn't illuminated. So it's always black, like you saw in that little video there. There are the higher class models like the Kilo 2200 and 2400 and so on and so forth. As you go up in the price brackets, they do have illuminated reticles, but yeah, unfortunately the Kilo 1250 and the Kilo 850, I believe, which is the model below this one, they're not illuminated. So yeah, I guess if you want to play, you gotta pay. All right, so let's go fishing, and then later on we'll go back and look at some competitive options. So, I didn't catch any fish, the other boys did, but we still had a cracker of a time, and that's what really matters, I guess. Plenty of beers, plenty of good times, and we didn't get too sunburnt, so happy with that. Up here on the screen, let's go into some competitive options for the SIG. So first of all, on the left-hand side here, we've got the Leupold RX 1600. I've used Leupold RX 800 or an 850. I can't quite remember which one it was, but I did like it. It seemed like a good quality unit, and I'd be very surprised if these ones are any different as far as quality goes. I'm very happy with all of the Leupold stuff that I've got in my gun safe. So let's have a look at the stats. Comes in a couple of different colors, black, blaze orange and mossy oak. That mossy oak one's quite nice. 1600 yard maximum range, that'll be for a reflective target, same as the SIG. 6 times zoom and a fairly nice wide field of view. Good stuff, good stuff. If you like Leupold stuff and you're not a fan of SIG for whatever reason, I think this would be a good option for you. It's very similar in pretty much every way, even including the price. In Australia, you might end up paying a little bit more for a Leupold, but as it stands at the moment, that's pretty similar to the SIG's pricing. Second competitive option is we're going to run with a Vortex Ranger. I haven't used the Vortex Rangers, but I have used a lot of other Vortex gear, and I'm a big fan of Vortex. I think they make for that this whole sort of high value target market that we're looking at, where you can afford some reasonably good stuff, but you don't want to destroy your bank account for the next 6 months. Vortex is always a good option. So a little bit more poke than the SIG and the Leupold, goes all the way out to 1800 yards. Same 6 times zoom and same battery, same everything. But yeah, I would definitely look into this. I think that would be a good option if you want to go with Vortex. Third, a relative newcomer to my little world. I haven't really known about Athlon optics for a great deal of time, but my old man's got one of these little Athlon rangefinders, and it's pretty good. Personally, I think I prefer the SIG over the Athlon, but as you look at the stats of the Athlon, it's 1200 yards, not 1600, but everything else is pretty similar. So if you are looking for a slightly cheaper option and you don't need to range a 1600 yard reflective target, and I can't really think of a reason why I even need 1600 yards of range, to be completely honest, but yeah, the Athlon I think is also a good option, and having used it, it feels like a good quality product just as well as the SIG does. So let's have a look at option number 4. We finally have Bushnell. Now, I think of Bushnell in the same vein that I think of Burris and indeed Vortex as well. I think they're all sort of, like, they all have obviously different levels of their products that they market to different demographics, but when you're talking about sort of reasonably priced high value type stuff, I think Bushnell's always worth a look. And they have a really good warranty, just same as Leupold, Vortex and SIG. They're all the lifetime warranty type things now. It seems to be the standard for this type of product nowadays. But we're going out to 1300 yards, so not quite as strong as the SIG and the Leupold and the Vortex, but still more than enough to get you where you want to go. Different batteries, taking a CR123 instead of the other one, CR2. But still, I would think that this would be a very good competitive option. So look into this one if you're interested in keeping it bushy. So sorry about the audio. Not really sure what was going on there. I'm testing some new mics and we got a little bit of feedback over there, but hopefully it's usable. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video as much as I enjoyed making it. And if you did, gently tickle that like button and subscribe if you want to see more. And I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.